are now recording. And with that, I'd like to introduce Wigberto Irizarry Ortiz to kick us off. He's going to talk about an excellent new member coordinator program in Troop 715. And with that, Wigberto, the floor is yours. Unmute, Wigberto. There you go.
I did it on purpose. I did it on purpose to see you were checking. So thank you, Mr. Eggleston. I appreciated everybody's time just to come and share practices and share our experience for this role of the new member coordinator. Currently, I work as one of the Newbie Patrol advisors in Unit 715. And we have had an evolution for the last 3-4 years, and we have a program that we wanted to share with you all, so you can take, what you think that can work for you guys, ask questions. We're gonna be sharing tools and things like that. So we really appreciate that. I'll start sharing my screen. Just let me know that you can see the screen.
And we can't up there. Here it comes, Wigberto. Okay, you're good.
Okay, everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So basically what we're looking for tonight is to talk about how to improve your unit success with the recruitment and retention. I know that Mr. Eggleston, he has provided already the slide deck, so we have included information on why do we need to have a new member coordinator? A couple of bullets on what is the job description. When somebody asks what is this role, at least people can understand what are the main responsibilities that we expect an MCM for a unit to do. And also who can be a new member coordinator. It's on slide 5 and 6, that's where we will be concentrating. And also tonight, I didn't see him in the list, but also I have Mr. Kendall Howell, that he's the lead for the new member coordinator team at our unit. And I hope that he can join us, and he can, he's the father of a newbie that joined the unit in 2019. So I like, for him to present what has been his experience and as we have gone through the process. So we put a couple of bullets just to kind of form the map, how we started. So historically, 3-4 years ago, we have the recruitment as a responsibility of the troop committee. That was transferred between individual families that were the youth was just aging out. And so if we have an experience where there was a fair and our unit committed to be there, and it happens that the people responsible, they didn't show up, and I was part of the people helping, and at that time I made kind of a commitment to myself just to do something better and improve. So in 2019 we started working on, okay, what we can do with recruitment. And we went to the to the scouts, the PLC. We beef up our program, working with all the adult leaders. What do we do at the unit? And I'll share a couple of pictures just to. So things that we got into was we went to fairs. For example, I know that the Cardinal District came back into having a district fair. So we attended, and we brought a team of adults, scouts, that they can give testimony of what we were doing in the unit. So talking to the parents and to the scout, that was important. For example, that boy that is on the right, he ended up joining a unit. His name is Eric Connell, and he's doing very good as a newbie right now that joined the unit in 2020. So what else, in terms of tools, what we work on just to help families coming in. We understand that it's very important for you to have a system where you can communicate, something that either paper-based or electronically, you have to have tools where the information can get to the families, to the youth, but also that you can have that feedback. If there's information, for example, forms and things like that, you have to have a good system just to make sure that you're getting information promptly and acting upon it. We have, for example, I would consider a robust website. We have e-blast where we send a lot of information. We have links so people can find information. Also, an electronic part, we create prospect accounts, people that are only interested in the unit, not that they're truly part of the unit, but through that they can go and see our website and see, historically what the troop has done and see if the troop could be a niche for that family. We have, for example, we have a parent's handbook that's part of the Newbie Packet that we give to the new families. And also we try to be open to not only families that they have had some scouting experience, as a Cub, but also we try to be tailored for, sometimes we have youth that they have never been participating in scouting. So we have been, we have to be sensitive to that and make sure that we can fill their needs as well. So the part that I would like to spend a little more time is just kind of presenting to you basically the process that we have designed, just in a nutshell. This is a 35,000 feet view of things that had worked for us. And the first part, we start on the selection part. When families are working on selecting a unit for continuing scouting, we want to make sure that we can show scouting being so interesting so they can say no. We're looking for them to continue scouting. If they ended up in our unit, they're more than welcome. But our first goal is for them to stay in scouting. So as I said, we go to fairs. When people visit, we don't do open houses. We always tell people, show up. You don't even have to call. Just show up, and we have adults and youth that they are responsible for taking care of them. That's just an example of a session that we did with new parents coming to visit, where while the boys or the youth were being taken care by the troop guides, the parents were in a Q&A session. Just any question that they may add about the unit, that was provided. And we have a pool of adults that, depending who's available, we can fulfill that need for the parents. So another part that we have done is on the youth side, that's a session where we have two troop guides just working with a group of arrows that visited us on a particular night. This is what we call the Newbie Room. They joined the boys that were participating, and that was kind of like an introduction session, so where everybody's presented themselves. So we start them, very early on working on their communication skills. So what else? Once we have a family that they're interested in our unit, they have decided, we start working on the onboarding process, and we try just to make it easier for them. So what we do is that once the youth have done the crossover, that very same night, we hold a meeting with the family. And in that very first meeting, they get what we call a Newbie Packet, where we include all the forms and all the ingredients that we're going to have a successful onboarding in the unit. That meaning everything that is electronic, paper-based, things like that. So I want to show you a tool that we have used. It's what we call a Newbie Passport. Since we are bringing them on board, we have kind of like design the tool to be kind of like a game, just in a fun way, just to make sure that is easy for the family. What this passport does, we have defined like 13 elements for them to be totally on board on the unit. For example, as I mentioned, we encourage them to go into our website and create a prospect account. we ask them to, from the beginning, complete the BSA membership application where the use does a transfer from the particular PAC unit to our unit. Early on, we start working on fees. We bring the financials very early so they have a very clear perspective of what the expectations are for the rest of the year or for years to come. The annual health and medical forms, very important. We need to have that record. We have a couple of forms from our CEO in terms of scout code and family data. We have like family driver. We have a liability form that we use also as for the CO. So all of that is in the packet. Once all that documentation is completed, then we expect them to come to the meetings. And the very next Monday after the crossover, we said, just come to our meetings and they get all this information in a packet. So I said, you get the information in a packet. Our expectation is that you can use the same conduit and bring it back in the same envelope. That way it keeps it as a bundle all together. And it's amazing. Everybody at the very first meeting, they bring almost everything complete. After that, we expect the youth to attend their first Newbie patrol, meet the patrol guys and the patrol advisors. Once they complete all of this, there's an award at the end. So all the youth that complete this, they get a hat, they get a handbook, and we started using the Newbie, that's the Newbie patch. So they get all those 3 elements once they complete the passport. And this way, it's a fun way for the family, easy to do. And in a very simple way, we keep everything as a packet. And in the past, things that used to take a couple of months, sometimes in 2-3 weeks, they're already registered in council. So it's very, very quick. And once we have completed all that, the onboarding part, then we concentrate, we don't stop there. We concentrate also on the monitoring part, sustaining, making sure that the experience selecting our unit, coming on board on the unit continues to be a fun one and also an interesting one. So what we do, we couple what we have done so far with their experience in the Newbie Room. So we make sure that we start working with the families and the youth on the planning part, just bringing in, now they're more depending on their own future and what they would like to do in scouting. So, but it's important for them to understand how they can plan, little progress one by one, and they go ahead. Also, we monitor closely progress, just making sure that they stay interested. We check with families if we see that, a youth, some meeting they don't attend, or if they have never showed up, we stay on top of that, and we make sure that from the troop guys' perspective and the patrol advisors, we maintain a good niche for the newbies until they complete all their requirements, they complete tenderfoot, and now they're ready to attend a senior of one of the senior patrols and continue their scouting experience. Has Mr. Kendall Howell joined us? No, Ken is not available. Okay, so I wanted Mr. Kendall just to give you, his view on the experience. He's leading now. Initially, we started on this program. Basically, it was one individual. Then we had 2 individuals, and right now we have 4 people. That's one thing that we want to highlight to everybody tonight. This the new member coordinator. Even though that's the name, that doesn't mean that it's a singular, that is one individual. This can be done as a team. You can have multiple people doing different sections. We have people that are very, very strong on the website and being the webmaster. So we have that role. We have people taking care of the onboarding, the form rechartering. So we have that as well. We have one person kind of overseen as the lead. So we have all of that, and also we have backups, like we can cover different units. So we also help with the crossovers if units needs that. For example, if a unit needs a a bridge, or if they don't have an actual ceremony. For us, it's very important, you know, that once Cubs have completed 4 or 5 years of solid scouting, that night or that event is very special. So if we can be a part of that or make a difference in that unit in every use that is crossing over, we'll try to do that as well. So if anybody has any question, at least a support that we wanted to bring on what we have done, you know, what tools, practices, what we have put in place. And it has been, you know, yeah, we have been evolving and learning and amending the program, but so far, you know, has proven successful for us in terms of bringing families and make them the best experience that scouting can offer.
I had a question, if I may.
Sure, you can.
All right. Did I understand, and forgive me if I'm incorrect on this, but did I understand that you to say that when the new members are coming in, that you're working them through to tenderfoot outside of the bounds of the regular scout meeting? Like you're kind of keeping them in a contained group by themselves until that's done?
No, they stay, you know, right now we have, in the unit, we have 4 senior patrols, and we have 2 newbie patrols, but all 6 are involved in all the activities. When we do the patrol time, that's where the newbies, we have, for example, the newbie 1 is boys from, or youth from 2019 that they're still working their requirements to tenderfoot. And then we have the newbie 2, that those are the 2020 new members that joined this year. But no, all 6 patrol interact in all the common, for example, when we do the skills, when we do the opening, closing skills, all the camping outdoor, all of that, all six patrols are combined. It's only on the patrol time that's where all 6 go and have their time together, and the newbies, they stay by themselves, and depending on what is programmed. And one thing that we have done is that every troop guide has become like a specialist. We have troop guides that help with fitness. We have troop guides that their specialties like first aid, other that they work like with the scout spirit. So when we have a good cell of newbies that we have, for example, 6, 7, that they need that particular requirement, that particular troop guide becomes the lead and works with them. Since not all the new members or the newbies, since we don't have all of them at the same time, not everybody comes every night, we have to adapt every meeting to see what the needs are. But what we do is that we have a very solid communication. So when they leave, for example, we meet on Mondays, we send an email saying to the families, you have completed these requirements, start working on this as homework for future meetings. So they know what to come prepare for. And we couple that, we have at least a troop guide that will be responsible to lead them and make sure that they're checked and then they're signed. And then at the same time, in the back, behind the scenes, with the advisors, we're collecting information and make sure that TM Web is updated that very same night. So that way we don't miss any entries, and we have the live material to make the decision for the next week.
Gotcha. All right, very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
No, thank you. Very good question. Very good question.
Any other questions for Wigberto before we move on to Sonia? Well, Wigberto, go ahead and stop sharing your screen, and then Sean can share hers. And Sonia, you're up whenever you're ready.
All right. Hi, everybody. So Monday in our roundtable, we actually focus really on JSN because we know everything is so different right now. I mean, right now we're having meetings through Zoom, and this is not something that we're used to. So we really focused on JSN, talked about how we can recruit the kids. And I just wanted to share a couple of those ideas. And if it works, it hasn't worked so far, but I have a video that my kids actually made for recruitment that they're going to use this year for JSN. So some of the things we talked about for recruitment was to make sure that the scouts are inviting friends. And of course, through social media, as long as they have parents' permission, they can invite friends, families recruiting families. You'll see later the attempt of, or you'll see my attempt of showing you the youth testimonial video where we actually took a Zoom meeting and they talked about what they liked about Cub Scouts. And these are some of my more senior scouts. One kid is even in high school that actually talks. We talked about a modified JSN because right now we're not really probably going to be able to go into the schools. So schools don't even know they're going to be open. So modifying it, maybe having a JSN at the charter organization or having a centralized location that multiple units can actually use to have JSNs. Having them inside of churches. For not only the church organization, but people in the community, especially that charter organization. Having a drive-through registration or parking lot presentation. We even talked about a presentation at a park, like literally just being at a park and using that as a JSN. My pack is actually going to be doing a parking lot Pinewood Derby / graduation / JSN that's going to be on Zoom and Facebook. Supposedly, that's what we're attempting. So that's going to be our attempt this year because everything is running together because our school system starts next month. One of the things we also talked about is everybody getting started now, especially with the price increase going as of August 1st. We really made a push for everybody to update the Be a Scout pin online. So that way you can get online registrations a lot better. Since a lot of things are going to be online, you're really not going to have that face-to-face contact so much. Heavy use on signage and flyers and cards. Somebody mentioned last night putting cards up at the library, putting them up at local businesses, putting, I know my local shrimp shack lets you put cards up there, or flyers, I should say, but just different places where you can look at to put things up. If you have a community center, putting them up there with permission, of course. And you really want to take advantage of everything right now because, like I mentioned Monday, my son and I have been together for 4 months with no break from each other, except for 24 hours. We're a little tired of looking at each other, and some parents are going to feel like that. So they're looking for something for their kids to get into, especially right now when schools don't know what they're going to be doing, and the sports certainly don't know until the schools know what they're going to be doing. You're going to want to focus on that. And I'm trying to go through all my little notes right here. Organize a new parent meeting. One of the things my PAC has been known to do right after we have recruitment, we have a meeting that specializes on our new parents. So none of my old kids are really allowed to come unless they're a child of a leader. And we have nothing but new parents. We give them paperwork. We get them acclimated to the leaders. We actually do an activity for the kids, usually like armpit fudge, to kind of get them interested to see what's going on. And we kind of show our expectations and the parents get to see their expectations. So, and another thing we mentioned right now with this weather, getting ready to turn nice or cooler, I should say, because it's nice now, it's just hot. Maybe try to plan an outdoor activity pretty soon within like the first couple of weeks. So that way the kids can actually do camping. My pack, we tend not to do camping first off because we have a lot of kids that are scared of going out in the woods. But one of my big activities, that's one of my first activities, is a church lock-in. So if you ever had one as a kid, you go in the church, big hall, and you're sleeping on sleeping bags, and it's a fake camping trip, but it gets those kids acclimated to actually not being with mom and dad overnight so much. That's one of the things that we've also done. So I'm going to right now try to show the video that I have. I hope that it works. Give me just one moment. All right, so let's see if we can get this. Hope this works. Give me 1 second. Oh, share computer share. How about that might actually work?
Maybe that's one.
We can see it this time.
Okay, so let's see if we can get you to hear a little bit of the sound, and hopefully the bags rustling in the background of my house won't actually disturb everybody.
Thank you. So now we're going to go ahead and start with the Joint Scouting Night video. So we'll first start off with Dino. Dino, could you please tell us your Cub Scout experience, what you learned from Cub Scouting that you still use today, and why you think others should join?
I first joined Cub Scouts back in 2012 when I was in the 1st grade. I've been here for many, many years.
It does pause for a quick second. We couldn't get that lull out, the video, no matter how we did it.
But it's working tonight.
Yay!
And since then, I've learned a lot of things from scouting. Scouting has improved my mind, and it has helped me spiritually as well. It helps me because it made me grow independent and self-sustaining from other people. So that way I know how to handle myself in other situations. I've been to many places because of scouting. I've been to North Carolina. I've been to Baltimore. I've slept on ships. I've been camping. Some things that I've learned from scouting that will stick with me are leave no trace and help other people at all times. Scouting has helped me become a trustworthy and loyal person, and I would like to thank scouting for that.
Thanks, Sonia. That's great. And to be clear to everybody, Sonia may have said it, I was distracted with something else. She did get all the parents' permissions for the kids to participate. That was element number 1.
Yes, yes. And actually, in a different tape that didn't quite make it to the video, I actually had one of my parents join in and the COR join in the video and talk about what they've seen as an adult in the growth of the kids because of scouting.
Very good. Thank you, Sonia. I see Kendall's here. Kendall, sorry about all of you that came in late. My apologies. I'm not sure how the wrong link got sent out, but thank you for being patient. And Kendall, Wigberto asked when you were still trying to get in, what your experience had been like yesterday with your son joining the troop and how the new member coordinator program helped you all integrate in the Troop 715.
Hey, hello everyone. Sorry I was late. What I would say is, as the parent of a new scout coming into this big bad scary troop that we knew was super active and was doing a lot of things, a lot of high adventure, had a lot of older boys. For me myself, I just wanted to make sure that my son wouldn't just be a number, but would be I don't want to say taken care of because that's not really the right way to put it, but you understand what I mean. Would be nurtured, would be cultivated. And so we had a series, and we still do this. We have a series of meetings in which the new scout joins the troop and does the regular, troop meeting, while the parents go off to the side, and there's programming for them to go through simultaneous to the regular scout meeting, and then they reconvene all together at the end for what we call it circle up. And so through those meetings, we learned all about the outdoor program within our troop, and all kinds of other things, leadership potential, the committee and its role, etc. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. I think there are three or four different programs that we go through with the new parents. And I think that what that achieves, obviously you give them all the information that they need in order to guide their own son or daughter through the program. but it also sets them at ease and gives them confidence that the troop is the right place, or the pack is the right place to have their son or daughter nurtured and cultivated in the right way. And so it's kind of like a confidence game. You want to make sure that the troop works well when the parents are there, at all times, obviously. But you really want to drive that home when you're in that kind of onboarding mode. And so a year later, we've had such a great experience that I'm jumping in with both feet into the I always forget what the role is called, but jumping into the role where I'm helping other new parents a year later get acclimated and get comfortable with it, while the boys are getting excited about being in scouting.
Good. Thank you. And again, sorry for getting the wrong link to you before. Would anyone like to address how you recruit new parents to be new member coordinators or to be uniform leaders? As someone said yesterday, if the parents come with the youth to the Joint Scout Nights for Cubs, they're joining. But there was a very good discussion yesterday about how to get the parents segueing into first understanding scouting, but then signing up to start doing things. And new member coordinator is something that is relatively straightforward, and if there's multiple of them, they can each take something they like to do. And you don't have to be a scout expert to be a new member coordinator. So anyone out there want to address that, or a couple people?
I will.
Go ahead.
For me, I just try to make friends with them as quickly as I can, so that they, have someone that they're comfortable talking to, and someone who can kind of feed them the crumbs of information that they need to get excited. And so I think the mistake is just saying, here we are, come and watch if you want, and get involved if you can. I think you have to do some legwork to pull them in and be friendly and make friends. I mean, that's the key, I think.
Very good. Any questions of the first three presenters, especially if you're a new member coordinator or just signed up or still thinking about it, or a unit head that doesn't have new member coordinators? Any questions? Wigberto, would you do me a favor? Would you show everyone your pass? If it doesn't take too long, could you show everyone your passport? I thought that was very impressive yesterday. People really found that interesting, if it's handy.
Yeah, sure. Let me.
There you go.
Yeah, and it's basically the tool. It's a PDF of the document that we created, and it's basically we made the passport that is actually close to a passport size, and it's something that is handy for the youth and the family to carry out, so they can always be checking in all the requirements and once they're complete, they go and talk to Mr. Scoutmaster, and once they're done, they get their hat, their patrol patch, and if the Cub unit have not provided the handbook, they get a handbook from our unit, and they're set to go. After this, as Mr. Howell mentioned, you have already completed all the serious part of what I call the business part of the transfer. Now it's just a matter of start having fun with the Newbie patrols and the troop guides, and then also be exposed to the other senior patrols and get that interaction as well. We try to maintain, not to, as I was asked before, not to disconnect them, but to nurture them as a group, but also expose them. So, I remember with my son when he joined the unit, the young ones, they're always, they want to be with the old boys and they want to be with the old boys. So that interaction is key for them to pick a model in the unit that they can follow and try to imitate. That's very, very important. So through using the handbook, it has been proven a very easy to use but very strong tools to get a good structure and getting all the information pretty quick. It's a very good map for everybody to follow. Another tool that we also use that I can share, we have a brochure that we update basically on a yearly basis. We update, but we use this like during the fairs. We have, I call it that it's like a very straightforward X-ray of what our unit is. And it has very simple elements on, welcoming them, who we are, what kind of fun things do we do, just to mention, a couple of things that we do during the year. What are we planning for next year, to give people a good idea of what has been planned for the next year, what the boys have planned. Then on the more serious part is, what are our guiding principles, where our compass as a unit is. And then we get into the financial. We want people just to see that from the beginning on, being part of our unit. These are kind of the commitments that everybody made being part of the unit. Other activities, and we try to close with how to, you're interested on visiting, joining us. We have all the contact information in terms of like when and where do we meet, our website, and our contact, our Scoutmaster. So we try to give as much as we can, so people always have at least one medium on how to connect with our unit and come and see what we do and see if we are a good match for their family.
Thank you, Roberto. Go ahead and unshare the screen. This is all these things that are being shown are going to get posted to the website, and then as much as I can cram them in, I'll put them into an email to everybody as well. And there's a couple of things from yesterday night as well. Anyone else? What are people doing? What other things have you been doing or thinking about doing, especially around recruitment this year? Any other great ideas out there that are working for you?
Well, one thing that I can mention, Mr. Eggleston, is in our unit, we plan at least to have one recruitment activity a year. For example, in the past, we have gone to the Norfolk Navy base, and we have brought families, and we have arranged for them to stay, in the base. And we get the chance to go and see the ships, go into the frigates and destroyers and things like that. So we always try to have a easy to manage, but interesting enough activities so families can, from the get-go, can have a taste of what scouting is about. And the boys, they participate. We bring senior scouts just to help with the activity. And they're the ones, they already start working on patrols, and the adults, they also get organized, and they're having discussions, Q&As on what else do we do at the unit. But we try just to do an activity that is fun and very simple, not that complicated, but at least family get the chance to explore and help them decide, okay, this is the right unit for my child.
Yep.
So
I would throw out Devil's Marble Yard as another really good first trip for
right.
a lot.
Right.
Anywhere you can go where all you need is a sleeping bag and a flashlight and everything else is cool. It's good.
On the Cubs side, mentioned yesterday was Creepy Forest. Is that what they're called this year rather than Creepy Hollow? I think there's 3 weekends going on this fall right after recruitment for the Cubs. Is the air show still go on in October over in Norfolk? There used to be the air show. That came up yesterday. If that's still going on, that was always a great event to take kids to. And when I was in the troop, we actually camped on base, which made things a lot easier. But I'm not sure if the air show still is going on. I haven't been in a unit for a while. Any other ideas? Any concerns? Especially if we can't get into schools for districts who are used to recruiting directly out of the schools. And are any of you connected with the homeschooling association, and how are we interacting with them to recruit youth who are normally learning at home rather than going to another building to learn? There's a lot of folks here. Someone's got to have something to say. Come on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. So raise your, if you all know how to do reactions, are all of you new member coordinators now, or at least serving in that role? Whether you're registered or not, doesn't matter to me. If you can, if you know how to do it, put a little thumbs up if you're already serving as a new member coordinator. Right. Good. All right. Now, who's new? Who's brand new to this? Anybody brand new? Kendra's already self-identified as a newbie. Cheryl, were you saying something?
I was just going to say that I went over to the Cub side and introduced myself, and we pulled the AOLs aside with their parents, and I just talked to them and told them what the process was, what the fees were, all of the information that we could. And I gave them my number. Had any questions or anything, I'd be glad to help them. And we, all 8 of our AOLs came over to our troop. So that's one of the things they've done, because this is it's a new position. So as soon as they started saying something about it, was it earlier this year or later last year, I went ahead and became one then. So I don't know if that still qualifies as new, if that answers your question or not.
It's for me. Yeah.
So, and we've been talking about some other things, but we haven't finalized yet what we want to do. At the moment, we're camping with with our scouts. So we took a break to do the meeting, but I really appreciate the class. There's some things that we've learned obviously here.
Are there any Cub leaders or leaders in Cub packs or working with a pack that want to share more about recruitment at the Cub level to piggyback on what Sonia was talking about earlier? Because so far we talked a lot about troops, and while packs are similar, they have several things that are a little bit different, especially attention spans. Anyone want to share things that have worked really well with onboarding new Cubs?
I do want to mention one story. We have a parent whose kids started maybe about 2nd grade. She had 2 sons, and they started with our pack in the 2nd grade. And it just so happened we started recruiting when one of her kids had already crossed over to the scout troop, and one of them was still in the pack. And we recruited at the school that she actually taught at as a teacher. And the kids happened to come by and saw me in uniform and gave me this big hug, and all the kids are like, what? So I asked the mom, and of course, and introduced the kids. And I had them just talk right there, like, okay, this is our den leader. She's cool, and they're like, and this is my mom. And all the kids are like, that's my teacher. That's my teacher. And it brought some kind of personable feeling to them, because they got to see both sides of that teacher as a human being and a teacher. And that's not something most people actually realize. And it brought a lot more kids, I believe, that year than we have ever had before, because they got to see the mom, the teacher, the parent all rolled into one.
Very good. Anyone else?
One thing that was mentioned yesterday is the relationship that you have with schools. I remember it was like when I was a Cub Master, the main elementary school that fed our unit, we have a very good relationship, and every time that they have any activity, back to school night, open house, in the first 3 months, we were at the school probably 4 or 5 times, and they were always inviting us. And every time we'll have the boys set up like a mini camp, and we'll have a table, and we have seen, like pine wood derby cars, or seen that always been, magnets for the children. So we always have families, coming and stopping by and talking to the boys, and we got some families interested that finally they joined the unit just because they stopped by and talked to the adults and the children on what they were joining scouting, what made a difference for them. So that was always funny, and the school helped a lot, and it was just a matter of being there on the side, having a mini campsite put together, and see people, answering these questions. Just being available, that really made a difference.
And to piggyback on that, what came up at yesterday's meeting from several speakers is that pretty much every youth and every adult in a unit can function as a new member coordinator just by being friendly and nice and answering questions and being excited about scouting.
Right.
It's not a tough job and doesn't have to be official. Another idea that came up yesterday too for Cubs was once the new youth join, a great activity is rain gutter regatta. I think what Jimmy Lebrecht said was when the youth first come, they work on the boats, and then a week or so later, then they set up the gutter and they do it, and the kids are thrilled. And it's a great way to get a program kicked off. And given the way COVID's working this year, you can social distance with that activity fairly well. And so it seems like a winner to me. Any other deals like that to get the kids really and the parents really engaged, and that you've tried and you think people would like to hear about, or if you want to send something, I can share it out to everybody? Because the Passport's getting a lot of good press, which I expected. That's why I wanted Wigberto to share it. I thought it was a great onboarding checklist tool, fun and not so boring. And the kids, took to it. But anyone else have any other kinds of things? How many of your units have a handbook that you've developed on your own to help the youth and the parents understand what's expected and what not so much the rules are, but how this all works? So I saw John put his hand up, Sonia. Yeah, that made a big difference in one of my son's former units, especially with behavior challenges. And it was a living document. It changed all the time as good things and maybe not so good things came up. And I would recommend that all units have a handbook of some type, especially for the new parents. And I know Wigberto has one, or Troop 715 has one. And the handbook from my son's former unit was based completely on a unit from Battlefield. We got it and plagiarized it and cited them at the bottom at the end and went from there.
I'll also say for our troop, like you said, it's a living document. Our handbook gets updated fairly frequently, and what's helpful is we highlight the updated sections in yellow.
That's
And
pretty
so
good.
most recently we did our cell phone policy, which had to be updated and everything.
Yeah.
And that was really helpful for me when I was talking to the parents, because I was able to say, here's what's new, here's what's been updated, so we could quickly turn to that rather than have to find all the new updates. So highlighting it in yellow was very helpful.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I think things are changing fast all around us and in scouting, and those really help parents get comfortable more quickly, is what we found in my son's former units. Again, when I say former units, my older son will be 32 in a couple weeks, and my younger son will be 28 in a couple months. So I have not had a youth in scouting for quite some time.
Okay.
And I saw Cindy has one. If you guys want to share those, we'll post them to the website as examples. And the more examples, the folks can pick and choose what works best for their unit, because one size does not necessarily fit all.
Actually, Cindy's is mine and mine is Cindy's.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And I think Cindy knows her way around council, so that helps. And
yes.
Any other resources that any of your units have developed that you think would help others and have helped you? Well, then I'll ask a hard question. It came up yesterday. It was an excellent question. A new member coordinator asked, "Hey, Bill, how are other units handling all the fee increases, especially this $25 new scout fee, especially for units where most of the families don't have those kinds of funds, or even with units that are a little more, I'll call wealthy, for not thinking of a better word, but and a few scouts, it's only a small number of scouts, but still there's a lot going on." Is everyone aware that if you register a new scout before August 1st, this month, that they don't have the $25 new scout fee imposed on them, but if they register on August 1st or after that, they have a new fee that's a one-time only fee? And so it came up, I think, with Sonia. Someone, I think, a couple people talked about it. I think Sonia may have mentioned it, that encouraging to reaching out to prospective scouts this month to register them so they avoid that fee. Everyone is aware of that. I know it's come out a couple times, but there's been a lot of stuff coming out from National and Council, along with the fee increases. Yeah, well, good. Any other thoughts? This is a quiet group. Last night we went until 8:15, so this group's a little quieter, so that's okay.
I have something that I can kind of add that I've found useful.
Yes,
that, you know, for the new members, anybody coming in, even if you don't know the answer, you likely know someone in your pack or your troop that does know the answer. And if you can direct them to that person, you know, physically take them to that person, that's very helpful. And just instead of just telling them that you don't know, you know, you can physically take them to that person, you know, and tell them, you know, this person's really good at our website. This one knows all the contacts. This one's great at merit badges. You know, just giving them the information where to go helps out a lot.
Yeah, I'll be honest, reading the original literature that came out about new member coordinators, that's kind of what they saw the role being, was not necessarily someone who knew a lot about scouting, but was, you know, very nice, very enthusiastic, and knew who to direct people to. But it's evolved since then. And you know, as we saw with Wigberto's troop, it can be a lot more than that. And it's really, of all the positions I'm familiar with in scouting, number coordinator is the most flexible. People can really make it what they want depending on the unit. And especially if they have a team, you know, different folks can do different things even during different times of the year. You know, say you've got an accountant, a tax accountant. Well, you don't want them real busy around tax season, and maybe someone else carries the load around that time. But thank you, Cindy. That's exactly right. You don't have to have, new member coordinators don't have to have all the answers. They just have to be able to say, well, I don't know, but I'll find out, or let's go walk over there. And then that's perfect.
Right.
Anyone else?
Yeah, and just piggybacking on that idea, Mr. Eggleston, is on the fact of, you know, we said, you know, the selection, the onboarding, the next, you know, stage is the monitoring just for sustainability. The idea is that we want them to come and to stay doing fun stuff in scouting. So that's at least one focus that we have, that once we have the new youth, we keep them excited and they're looking forward for that hour and a half every week just to come and participate. That's where truly we know that we're doing the right thing. When you ask them, yeah, we're looking forward to for that particular Monday and come and do work, have a game, learn something new. with the older scouts.
Yeah, thanks. Earlier, Sonia talked a good bit about JSN, but she didn't share her presentation. I'll send it out to everybody because it has a lot of great stuff in there. And I was very impressed on Monday night. There are things in there I would have never thought to do in terms of being forward thinking, just about normal recruitment, but about this year. How many of you have social internet connectivity issues with reaching out to your area for your families? My son's a brand new Cub Master down in Blackstone, and the phones and the internet there are terrible. And he cannot rely on the internet, and he can't do Zoom meetings unless he's back at work. It doesn't work. Does anyone else have those? I saw Cindy put her hand up. So I think it's a rural challenge. How are you all addressing this? How are you getting around this?
We've lately started going to a park, and a lot of the scouts feel more comfortable with wearing the mask there, but that seems to be working well. The Zoom meetings don't go so well for about half of our patrols, but everybody responds to the email. If you tell them, hey, we're going to meet at the park, everybody shows up. Nobody's at the Zoom meetings, but everybody's at the park, and they're all ready to go. They're looking for adventure now.
What about recruitment? How does recruitment work if that kind of a mechanism isn't such a great doesn't really work for you guys?
Well, we're trying to get everybody to bring their friends or their cousin or their neighbor, because everybody's been cooped up. So it'd be a perfect time for everybody to come on out.
Like Sonia said, they need to get out and do something. Yep.
Yeah.
In Blackstone, Billy pointed out that the town has a Facebook page, and they put little ads up. So he's actually going to look into doing ads through the town Facebook page, and getting all the churches in town to put up the join pack 6540, I think is the number, on their lawns, because of the internet issues down there and just the phone connectivity. My phone does not work anywhere in Blackstone other than my son's home, where he has a booster working. It's just a complete dead zone. And I suspect others of you have that same issue. Well, it's about 8 o'clock. Is there anything else anyone else wanted to share, or any final questions?
Yep, I think this is it.
Well, thank you so much all for coming. I'll be, as I mentioned, this will get posted, the recording will get posted to the council website, as well as the resources, and I'll also send out the resources with attribution, so you know who to reach out to get back to the source. If you're interested in I'm gonna send out PDFs for models, so it can all go in one email, and that's why I'm saying I'll include whoever shared it, so you can reach back to them to get the original document if you want to make a modifiable or get a modifiable version. Right. And Roberto and Sonia and Kendall, thank you so much. Everyone else, I really appreciate you all coming.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Just kind of FYI for everyone. I know everyone probably had like a lot of meetings today, but there's a national recruitment webinar going on right now. It just started. If you look it up online, you guys should be able to find it.
Okay.
I might be able to post the link in the chat if you guys want.
Yeah, would you mind doing that? Thanks.
Yeah, let me do that real quick.
Yeah, because I didn't see that one. So there's been a series of national recruitment meetings. I was invited to one a couple weeks ago because of one of my roles. But the presenters made it clear that there's a whole series of these, but I haven't been seeing, even as a commissioner, I've not been seeing the links for them. Have you guys been seeing them? Yeah, and I saw one today for roundtables, but I think that's simply because I'm a commissioner. Yeah.
All right, it's in the group chat.
Very good. Thank you so much. So I'm not going to close the meeting for a couple minutes. So if you want to, guys, grab that and go visit that, please do so. But with that, thank you so much. I really appreciate you spending your time with us tonight, and especially the presenters. Thank you again for doing double duty to Kendall and Sonia and Roberto, who did this yesterday as well. And I really appreciate your guys' time, and yeah, you're serving as resources for everybody. Great seeing everybody I knew and great seeing people I haven't met before.
Thank you.
Have a great
Good luck
evening.
out there,
Thank
guys.
you.
Good
Good
night.
job.
Bye. Thank you.
Stay healthy.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Hey, is Sonia still on?
Send it in. He's gonna be all night.
No, that's great.